From the vast deserts of Arabia to the towering mountains of Central Asia, from the bustling streets of London to the remote islands of the Pacific, there is one sight that remains constant. Muslims, millions of them, bowing in perfect harmony toward a single point on earth of the Kaaba. To the outsider, it may seem as if Muslims worship this black structure in the heart of Mecca, but this is a grave misconception. The Kaaba is not an idol. It is not a dwelling place of Allah. For Allah is beyond space and form. He is not confined to the heavens, nor to the earth. Then why do Muslims face the Kaaba? If you could zoom out, if you could rise above the world and look down, you would witness a breathtaking spectacle. From the frozen tundras of Russia to the scorching sands of Arabia, from the skyscrapers of New York to the markets of Karachi, from a lone traveler on a mountain peak to a hidden village in the depths of a jungle, the scene is the same. If you could see through the walls of homes, masjids, and workplaces, you would witness something extraordinary. Waves of believers prostrating in synchronized devotion. Thousands in Mecca, hundreds in Cairo, tens in a quiet European town, but all facing one point, a single movement, a single direction, a single purpose. What force on earth could command such unity? Look again from above. The image is mesmerizing. 1 billion hearts beating as one. 1 million foreheads touching the ground in perfect symmetry. A force greater than nationalism, greater than race, greater than bloodlines, binds them. The Kaaba is not their object of worship. It is their axis, a reminder that no matter how far they are from each other, they are never alone. Yet centuries ago, there were those who could not comprehend this. When Bilal ibn Rabah, a freed slave and one of the earliest Muslims, climbed atop the Kaaba to call the Adhan, the Quraysh mushrikeen looked on in shock and disgust. To them, this structure was once the home of their idols, a place of pagan rituals and ancestral pride. They muttered amongst themselves, outraged that a former slave, an outsider in their eyes, would dare set foot upon what they still considered sacred. Thank God our forefathers are not alive to witness this disgrace, they sneered. But what they failed to understand was that Islam had shattered their notions of status and hierarchy. Just as it had stripped the Kaaba of all false gods and reduced it to what it was always meant to be, a direction, not a deity. If the Kaaba were an object of worship, how could Bilal have stood upon it? How could he have placed his feet on a structure meant to be revered as divine? His very presence atop the Kaaba was a declaration that Muslims did not bow to stones, to statues, or to lifeless objects. They bowed only to the Creator of the heavens and the earth. If there were no Kaaba, Muslims would still pray. They would still bow, still prostrate, still recite the same words. But if there were no sacred axis, the Kaaba, to unify them, where would they turn? Would one pray east, another west, and another wherever they pleased? If every individual chose their own direction, there would be no unity, no sense of belonging to a single ummah. It is not the structure itself that holds significance. It is the command behind it. Allah, in His divine wisdom, gave Muslims a direction not because He needs it, but because they do. He made them turn toward one point, not to worship it, but to bind them as one. The Kaaba is the anchor that aligns the hearts of Muslims, a symbol of their equality. Kings and beggars, scholars and laborers, all stand shoulder to shoulder, facing the same direction, reciting the same words. It is not the Kaaba that is sacred in itself, but the unity it represents. A world without this direction would be chaotic. But with it, the Muslim Ummah stands as a single body, separate in lands, but inseparable in faith.